I would go so far as to say it's the best Pinot out of Elgin I have yet to taste.
Welcome to the Cold Soak with Christian Eats. I'm David Clark, and each month I sit down with Christian Eats, senior editor at winemag.co.za and one of South Africa's most respected wine critics, to discuss everything happening in the South African wine industry. This podcast is brought to you by the XNMO Wine Club. Let's jump into this month's conversation. Alrighty, welcome Christian to episode 2 of the Cold Soak. How has your April been?
I'm happy to say busy and fulfilling, and yeah, things have certainly picked up. I think I mentioned last episode that it had been a bit of a slow start, but harvest is over and the new releases are hitting hard.
Any sort of notable difference from last year to this year in terms of frequency or desperation or quality or?
The 25s are now starting to hit the market, and much hyped vintage. And I have to say, so far what I've seen, the wines are definitely living up to the hype.
So 25s are looking
really smart.
All right, cool. So, and you released 3 of your reports this month in Chenin, Shiraz, and Minority. Mm-hmm. What are the rules, rough rules here? Like, so Chenin, is anything that is labelled as Chenin? So
yeah,
anything that's with 15% in it? Or?
As an adjunct to Chenin, we do Cape White blends, and it's our definition rather than anybody else's. In order to qualify, wines have to contain more than 15% Chenin and less than 85% Chenin.
Oh, okay, for the blends.
Now, does that make sense? Basically, there can't be a single varietal wine. It has to contain a portion of Chenin.
Yes, for the blends.
Correct, for the blends.
And then if something's labelled as a Chenin and it has 10% Viognier in it, you can...
That's fine. I mean, given that you've got the official 15% leeway.
Okay, cool. And then I'm assuming that's the same with the Shiraz report.
Correct.
Then? And then what's the Minority report? What is included there and
so
what is not?
We thought a clever name for so-called alternative varieties. Mm-hmm. The thing is there that out of the 100 or so varieties planted in South Africa, the top 8 make up over 80% of plantings. So everything else qualifies as an alternative variety, mm-hmm. and hence the name Minority Report.
Yeah, right. So Colombard would not be an alternative variety.
Correct.
Right.
Thank God.
Yeah. I think it's a second
it's a weird variety, but it's not an alternative
most planted variety. Okay. And what usually wins out in the Minority Report, or is it in categories?
We taste more or less in categories. So, rightly or wrongly, we sort of lump the Rhone varieties together. To the extent that there are Italian varieties, we try and test those together. I mean, does Sangiovese bear any resemblance to Nebbiolo? You can have that debate, but there's an Italian aesthetic that we might want to try and reward, etc., etc.
Cool. A few interesting editorial pieces on the site this month. Fine wine and its place in the SA market. What was that all about?
Earlier in the year, we did a reader survey for the first time in 7 years. Mm-hmm. And the very striking thing to come out of that was how extremely affluent the Wine Mag reader is, extremely affluent, which is both satisfying in the sense that we are talking to a very elite audience, but also concerning in what a narrow segment of the South African population mm-hmm. Is interested in fine wine. And it's a problem for Wine Mag, but I would humbly suggest it's a problem for the industry as a whole, that mm-hmm. there's this elite and elitist are very closely related.
Mm. And what was the summary there, or what was the...
So I sort of editorialized the thoughts that fine wine is a very upper middle class, middle aged pursuit. You have to have disposable income if you want to engage with fine wine. Is that a huge surprise? Probably not. But as I say, what are we doing collectively to engage a younger, the so-called emerging market?
Yeah. Okay. And I see here that there's a Jamie Good piece on do wine experts taste better or simply differently? What was your take on that?
So I mean, it's an interesting point to ponder. As wine professionals, do we, are we stuck in a silo with our own language and our own aesthetic compared to what the man in the street wants to drink and how the man in the street converses about wine? And it's a moot point. I mean, I'm not saying it's an error. It is worth pondering, but is there an emphatic answer to it? I'm not sure.
Has it made you change, or at least assess how you talk and how you communicate about wine, or not really?
Well, I mean, I wake up every morning trying to be as not undermine my own expertise, but also simultaneously as engaging as possible to the widest audience possible. But I mean, one has to accept that for a lot of people, wine is just a beverage, and that's just like I'm no petrol head. I don't really give a crap whether it's a 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, or 8-cylinder.
As long as it gets me 8 of it.
As long as it gets me from 8 to
Yeah.
me.
There's been a bit of talk about Platters, the potential sale or the potential appointments of different personnel. Have you had any solid news on that, or has it just all been innuendo from your side as well?
So, I mean, there does appear to be something bubbling under. There's lots of rumour flying around. Totally unsubstantiated at this stage. It does seem official that Bubbles Highland has been appointed managing director.
I don't think that's been announced.
Well, it seems to be common knowledge, but
Yeah.
no, is it official or not official? Again, it seems to. What strikes me is that the owners, Diners Club, are. It's very corporate in that they are not addressing the rumours. Are they obliged to? Maybe not. But some open and clear communication would be appreciated by the industry, I would humbly suggest.
Yes, absolutely. And if you were in charge of Platters, what apart from quietly panicking?
My first answer would be, I'm very relieved I'm not in charge of Platters.
But what would you? Is there any sort of sweeping reforms you would?
Well, I mean,
has its remit or mandate been outdated, or?
No, as you and I have discussed informally over many a Sunday lunch, the fact that Platters is primarily ink on paper in 2026 is laughable. I mean, they've had multiple opportunities going back years, if not decades, to convert to digital, and they haven't. I mean, it's mind-boggling. How so the mandate surely is to go digital as quickly as possible, and that, to my mind, would require massive resources, of financial and human capital, and is it worth it? Moot point.
Because they do try to be as thorough as possible and taste virtually every wine that's made in South Africa.
Well, okay. So let's leave the digital issue to one side. Is it necessary to taste 9,000 odd SKUs every year? I was briefly a Platter taster, tasting the same wine out of carton versus 2-litre bag-in-box versus 5-litre bag-in-box. I don't think anybody's ever bought a 5-litre bag-in-box based on its Platter rating. So,
versus the same one in the 2-litre. Yeah.
That said, I do remember tasting it was possibly the worst one I've ever tasted in my life. That came out of a Tetra Brick carton, which was different to the bag-in-box because something had gone wrong at packaging stage. But that's anecdotal, incidental. Do you have to taste 9,000 different SKUs in order to be relevant? I mean, comprehensive is a nice ideal. It's nice to gun for, but is it practical? And I always think to myself, the Platters is out of date the day after it comes out, because a winery might have sent vintage X and then the next day or the next week or the next month, they release the subsequent vintage, which is not in the guide. Okay? So again, digital allows you to accommodate that. Ink on paper doesn't.
No. Top wines of March. You released this on the 1st of April. Just we're reading down the list. Craven the Furs Vineyard Syrah 2025 at 97 points. Lebrun Pinot Noir 2025, also 97 points. Lebrun Chardonnay 2025, 96 points. Oak Valley Tabula Rasa CY 548 Chardonnay 2022, 96 points. Melanie Syrah 23, 95 points. Oak Valley Tabula Rasa CY 95 Chardonnay 2022, 95 points. And the Villafonte Series C 2023, 95 points. Interesting that there's no Chenin there.
I think it's just coincidental. I mean, I think it's curious, certainly curious, but I don't think we should read anything into it.
Okay. And the fact that there's a Pinot Noir right up at the top there is
so
notable for your historic skepticism on its place in.
I have to say,
South African vineyard.
It's a startlingly good wine. Nico Grobler is the winemaker who is absolutely devoted to making great Chard and Pinot. I would go so far as to say it's the best Pinot out of Elgin I have yet to taste.
There you go.
It's really, really smart.
Yeah, right.
Something to give the humour and ardor guys something to think about.
Yeah, right. Starting to maybe something to scare them into the next level.
Correct. Well put.
You mentioned Patats Fontaine, so that's the Saga Vineyards wines. Is that correct?
Correct.
So this is Renan Bormann who makes these wines.
Of course I meant Renan Bormann.
And there's the Chenin for you.
There's a Chenin, yeah. So this is just at the very start of the month.
And that is, as I'm sure listeners probably know, or maybe don't, out of Montague. And it's, I'm a huge fan of that particular wine, and this vintage is very, very smart.
Also at 25.
Correct.
Yeah, right. So you can foresee 25 as being a pretty high scoring.
Yeah. What do I like about 25s? I think
reds and whites, or?
Well, we haven't seen too many reds yet, for obvious reason. In the sense that they take longer to come onto the market, generally speaking. But yeah, there's every indication. 25 reminds me, in broad terms, of 21 in the sense that you've got great clarity of fruit matched with great structure. So 22 and 24 are also very nice vintages, but maybe a bit more open and accessible and less structured.
Right.
25 seems to have it all.
Not entirely unrelated, the Bosch Kloof Epilogue Syrah.
Fantastic. Best
2024.
Best vintage since 21. And 21 was rightfully highly acclaimed. And I think 24 is on a par. Not the same, as I just said. 24 maybe a little less structured, but just beautifully judged. Really smart one.
And just slightly better than the Sons of Sugarland.
Yeah, to my own palate, I often prefer Sons of Sugarland because it's a little less polished, maybe, and a little more wild. But I think Rhiannon's done a fantastic job with Epilogue 24.
Buchenholz releases.
Yes.
Talk to me about those.
So it was great to visit with, it was a full day affair, and the new release tasting came after a vertical of, not a full vertical, but various vintages of the Semillon, including a lineup of the component parts of the Semillon from the 2019 vintage. And when I say component parts, they use various vineyards and various picks. So that was fascinating. But Buchenholz is just, such a classy operation, and the wines are very carefully crafted. And, so it was great to have the full experience. I think, and then I think what I would say is, it's the stems off old Franschhoek vineyards, and for me that's arguably the standout wine. The reds I find maybe a little too polished.
So you seem to prefer the Franschhoek Cabernet 23 to the Stellenbosch Cabernet 23.
And I think what stands the Franschhoek Cab in good stead in the case of the 23s is the addition of some Cab Franc.
Okay, just giving a bit more of a backbone.
And freshness and personality and...
Seine, did you go down to Seine or did they come to you?
I did not go all the way to Melchas. I have been to Melchas on a few occasions. It is really worth a visit. It's quite extraordinary situation. But no, the wines came to me. Yeah, what can we say about Seine? I mean, they're fascinating wines. I mean, it's such an unusual terroir and makes really unusual wines. So if you're looking for something distinctive and out of the ordinary, then Seine's well worth checking out.
Were these wines still made by Charlotte at this point?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Are these the last wines made by Charlotte?
I am not entirely sure. She might have had one more vintage, but pretty close to her last one.
Yeah. Black Elephant, anything to report there?
Yeah, Black Elephant's a somewhat quirky operation out in Franschhoek. They try quite successfully, I think, to do things differently. They're fantastic packaging, amongst other things. I mean, but in this instance, 2 new Swartland wines, very smart. Well worth checking out.
And the Côte de Boss, so getting back into the Boschkloof sort of...
Yeah, so Côte de Boss is not quite entry level, but it's a spin-off from Boschkloof, and it's a skin contact Chenin, a Grenache Syrah blend, and a straight Pinotage. And I'm fond of the wines. They offer value, perhaps not quite everyday drinking at 200 Rand a bottle, but not out of reach either, and not super complex maybe, but really accessible and just tasty.
Okay, I'm going to chat to you about the Minority Report.
Yeah.
If people want to, so people have to nominate wines and enter them. You don't do the selection. You put out the call for entries. And is there sort of like a commercial minimum that they have to be able to produce, or what's the...
There is, and our usual minimum is 600 bottles. Okay. And the reason being that there's no point reviewing a wine if nobody can actually buy it or taste it or drink it. But in the case of Minority Report, it's 300 bottles. And why the lower limits? Because wines are very often quite fringe, and we're just trying to encourage producers to make them. And 300 bottles is roughly, the equivalent of 1 barrel.
Okay. So best white, Wildeburg, Franschhoek. What is in that?
It's 100% SEM off old vines.
Okay.
Again, I've just mentioned Boekenhoutkloof. Franschhoek old vine SEM is much celebrated, and for good reason. I mean, it's just those all the guys are making them are making really top stuff.
Got Hazendal white blend from the Bottleray.
So, yeah.
Marsan
Roussan.
2025.
Yeah.
Cool label. I like the label. That's really.
So, and that's now Chiara Scott, ex of Brookdale's gone there, and that's her first vintage. And she had across all 3 reports.
A successful.
She's making. Okay. I mean, she was making great stuff at Brookdale, and I understand Brookdale are very sad to have lost her to Hazendal, but she's definitely a winemaker to keep an eye on.
Cool. Donkeys by Grenache Blanc out of Pieterneerskloof, 2025.
So again, part of the Jean Engelbrecht stable, Rist and Frieda being the name people will probably know.
The mothership.
The mothership.
Yeah.
But Donkeys by the Grenache Blanc in this case, but across the board, making really, really smart wine. And it's nice to see a medium-sized operation making such really smart wine. So what do I mean? I'm saying I don't think you can call donkeys by a boutique by any stretch of the imagination, but they really are turning out good stuff.
And has that not always been the case in the past?
No, not at all. I think they've been really good for a good long while, and maybe don't get the attention they deserve.
Okay.
And there's Ristenfried of the Mothership, and I think I said the last episode that that should be considered amongst our very best labels in the country. There's Guardian Peak, there's Stellenbosch Reserve, all part of the Engelbrecht stable, and they all hit different price points, but delivering great quality relative to price point.
Super safe bets.
Super safe bet.
Yeah, okay.
And more than that, I mean, like rock solid.
Best red was from the Paardeberg Co-op. Paardeberg, sorry, not Paardeberg, Paardeberg.
Former co-op.
Former co-op. The Vineyard Collection Grenache Noir 2024 at a grand price of 129 ronds.
So that was a very pleasant surprise. Stock up, peeps. I think we've talked about this before, but Grenache can be a little underdone. South African Grenache. There was a really nice velocity on this wine, and it poses a lot of questions. I mean, how can they get this wine to market at such a low price? How are they able to get this wine? I guess because they've got access, by virtue of being a former co-op, to some really great fruit, and maybe doesn't have the brand cachet of some of the big name boutique producers.
And a bit of economy of scale, as you say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. And that would be the best value wine in the Minority Report, I would have thought.
Yeah, it must be close to, yeah.
I'm just having a quick look down the line here. Oh, there's
But I mean, in a similar vein...
Kuhlenbosch Sangiovese at 109 rand, which is snuck into the top 10 as well.
Yeah. Does Tuscany have anything to worry about? I'm not sure, but if you're looking for a great Monday to Friday pizza wine, then Kuhlenbosch Sangiovese is well worth checking out.
Awesome. How many? 85 entries. Okay, cool, nice. All right, Shiraz report. Called the Syrah report, or what's the?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really. It must have been going for a good couple of years now, maybe 10 or so. Was there a reason we called it the Shiraz report rather than the Syrah report? Not particularly. I wrote an editorial just this week about the state of the category. I am led to understand by producers and retailers that regardless of whether you view it as Syrah or Shiraz, or whether there's a meaningful difference, it's a tough sell, which is intriguing, and given that I think it's and not just me, I think many people think it's our best red category.
Yeah.
And it elicited a lot of comments from my editorial. And one thing that emerged in the comments was that there is market confusion about what Syrah signifies versus what Shiraz signifies, which I found interesting. I mean, I take it for granted that they're interchangeable. I mean, traditionally, Syrah equates to elegance and Northern Rhone, and Shiraz equates to power and Barossa. But I've tasted some very big Syrahs and some very elegant Shirazes.
Yeah, exactly. So in this report, what have we got there? Leeuwenkale is at the Heritage Syrah 2022, which wasn't necessarily the greatest vintage of all time, but that wine obviously spoke to you.
Yeah, and I mean,
it
was a quite extraordinary tasting moment. I was my colleagues on the panel were James Peterson and Melu Lambert, and in all my years of judging, I mean, the way we judge is individual judges call out their scores with a view to a discussion, and it's the first time ever that there was two of the judges were unanimous in giving a wine 97 pre-discussion. i.e., nobody was able to influence anybody one way or the other. And that was myself and James, 97 unanimously, first round. So it's a really, really good Swartland Syrah. And to get a 97 in a blind tasting environment is an extraordinary achievement. And it bears mentioning it was Platters Syrah of the year last year. I think it got 99, which is also, it's an amazing wine. So if you're a Shiraz or Syrah fan, then it's well worth getting hold of. And interesting enough, has not yet been released because the winemaker feels it's not quite ready yet.
Okay, interesting. Maybe you should change the report's name to just whatever the top wine is that year. So if it happens to be a Syrah, it's the Syrah report. If it happens to be a Shiraz, it's the Shiraz report. Going down the list here, Zevenwacht, Z Collection Syrah from Pokel Dry Hills, 2024. Justenberg, Clipperco Syrah, 2022 from Paul, very cool. Zandvliet, Shiraz from Robertson, which is not a usual spot that you would necessarily...
So Zandvliet have long made Shiraz and specialized in it. And at one point, maybe 25 years ago, were a market leader. And they've done well in our reports regularly. And I'm delighted that they're getting it right, because to my mind, Robertson is a perennial underperformer across all categories. I mean, they make such a big fuss about their limestone soils and their Chardonnay, but I tend to be underwhelmed.
But a lot of that goes into bubbles, doesn't it?
I suppose that's a fair comment. And I mean, of course, Graham Beck is based in Robertson, and there's no fault in Graham Beck bubbly. But I mean, with respect to De Wetshof and Springfield, it's a long time since I've had a shard out of Robertson that's really knocked my socks off.
I mean, the Zandvliet's going at $170, so it's certainly, they're certainly not overpricing it.
No, and it's a commercial style done very well. It's slightly fuller. There's definitely a lick of oak on it, but it's a punter's wine for sure. Yeah,
right. I mean, and having said that, you don't see much out of Robertson. The next wine is from Robertson also, from the Van Louveren stable, the Christina Syrah 2023.
Okay, so
at almost at more than double the price. So $310.
So if I understand correctly, that's coming out of the Zandvliet cellar.
Oh, right, okay.
And probably off the same vineyard.
Interesting.
Because Van Louveren now own Zandvliet.
Huizendaal, as you suggested, is snuck in here with their 2025 Syrah. Also, bargain, $139.
Curious pricing. I think clearly Huizendaal's trying to reposition itself. That just smacks of being too low. I mean, bargain, lucky punter. But in terms of repositioning Huizendaal, it seems silly price.
Got Lamotte here, another Leeuwenkuil wine, the Reserve Red. Arrested Freda wine, that's the straight Syrah, that's the estate Syrah, yes. Yeah, very cool. And Syrah, or Shiraz, as you say, like the strongest red category that you
so
taste,
what's one caveat is that the good ones are very good, and then there's a long tail.
Okay.
So and that's not just based on this tasting. I mean, this tasting reinforced that. Quality drops off quickly. So
I see.
Compared to something like Cabernet, where I would say there's more consistency in Cab. Whereas Shiraz, Syrah, and again, I think it goes towards confusion. Whether it's the Molyneux and Buchanan's Kloof and Van Lockenberg, those guys have got a really clear fix on what they're trying to do. And then Zandvliet, clearly, have got a good fix on what they're trying to do. But there's a whole bunch of producers in the middle who seem a bit confused. Are they trying to make a sort of big, bold, popular, crowd-pleasing style, or they're trying to make Rhone style? And then it ends up being a bit confused.
A bit nebulous, yeah.
A bit nebulous.
Chenin report, always probably a highlight for you to taste. How many entries this year? 50 entries of single variety Chenin and 18 Cape White blends. And you've answered my question from before here. So has to have more than 15% Chenin Blanc, but less than 85. Three-person channel. The top wine was Le Sueur Klusenaar. Very cool. From Klein Karoo, 219 rons. Is that a straight Chenin or is that a...
No, it's straight. So the Klusenaar is a straight Chenin, and what's really interesting there is, the vineyard is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Again, not a complete surprise. They have done very well in previous reports. But I mean, I think it goes, the fascinating thing for me is one of the fascinating things about Chenin is how well it does across the country. You've got
pops up in the middle of the desert.
Montague, you've got Le Sueur from Klein Karoo. Of course, Stellenbosch does it well. Swartland does it well.
Yeah, from Rustenhof.
Elam does it well.
On beach sand,
So it does. It really does love South Africa, and South Africa loves Chenin.
Klein begin.
So Klein begins Pickenierskloof.
Oh, begin. Yep. Pickenierskloof. Cavalli Reserve 2025 from Stellenbosch. Donkeys By Again, Steen, that's Pickenierskloof 2025. Ernie Els, Stellenbosch 2025. Knorhoek, Simmonsburg, Stellenbosch 2025. Le Sueur again, 2025 from the Klein Karoo. Velbedacht, Schoolblock Steen 2025. I mean, when you're seeing Steen on the label, is it for you? It's just a synonym for Chenin Blanc? Is it?
For me, yes, but it does. If Syrah Shiraz is confusing consumers, then is it so smart to call your wine Steen? I mean, it's got lots of sentimental appeal to my mind. It's what
it's nostalgic more than
it's nostalgic. And it is, it's what Chenin used to be known as colloquially. So it doesn't trouble me as a wine insider, but next thing is I'm going to be told that it confuses the crap out of people.
Yeah, or it'll be a particular clone or something, and then you go and use it. Yeah. Flagstone, getting in there, $160.
Yeah, Flagstone, a previous winery of the year, making really good stuff. And, this is their...
And another Justenberg sneaking in, the Achtos. Very cool. And then the blends. Cavalli, again, Reserve White, 25. Coterie by Wilderberg. I mean, Wilderberg has been sort of a perennial high performer in these
correct,
reports.
and a winery of the year twice.
Grenache Blanc, Chenin Blanc blend. Jan from Zevenwacht, $200. The Bosman Adama, 2025. De Vet Vintage Mashup, Sauvignon Blanc, Chenin Blanc, Semillon, 2025. At the massive asking price of 105 Rand. Perdeberg again, getting out there, so that's cool. Chenin Grenache Viognier, Grenache Blanc that is, Viognier. Very, very cool. And so why did you do three of them in one? Is that...
Not following?
Reports, you did them bang, 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 straight away.
Oh, okay. Until this year, we ran the reports on a continual basis throughout the year. And we just felt that if we bundled them together, they might have more clout, attract more attention. There are so many wine competitions out there, and making sure that our results actually resonate with the public, the greater public,
Yeah.
we felt it was a good idea to bundle them together.
Okay.
And it remains to be seen if it's working, but this is the first time that we have done it, and the reaction seems to be generally positive.
Nice. We've got the Winshaw new releases here. I'm assuming they're mostly the red, the top wines?
Yeah, so they've got a not insignificant collection of whites in their portfolio. For me, they're definitely much stronger red producer than white producer. Mm-hmm. In fact, the reds are very, very good. And as made by Lucas van Lockenberg, or with Lucas Consulting, I think Pierre Winshaw is very hands-on, and I think has ambitions to make the wines himself entirely in going forward. But great fruit. I think the Winshaws take their viticulture very seriously and supply some very high-profile producers in addition to making their own wines. Neighbours of Meerlist, so an interesting terroir just down the road from Polkadai Hills. Definitely a producer to watch.
Cool. Erin wines.
Yeah, so a Bot River property that the father and son, the Adam family farm. I haven't visited. I understand it's a conservation project first, and with some vineyard attached to sort of underwrite the conservation project. The wine's made by the Verbergs of Ladite. This was a maiden release. The fascinating thing here is that it's a field blend with apparently 20 different varieties. Yeah, the wines are somewhat idiosyncratic. It's going to be interesting to see where this project goes. Not a bad set of maiden releases, but I think work in progress.
Now, there's a couple of releases here that use the moniker Canvas. So you've got the Niederberg Blank Canvas new releases and the Steenberg Canvas collection. They can't be happy with that.
I can't imagine that. And I mean, ironically, I tasted them on the same day.
Oh, really?
Having tasted Oak Valley Tabula Rasa earlier in the year.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah,
I mean, how many variations on the theme can we have?
So is this Niederberg's top wines, or what is it?
No, so it's very small volumes. I think 400 bottles.
Oh, wow.
So it's a wooded Sauvignon Blanc and a Cinsault, and it billed as a way of keeping the winemakers interested. Yeah, I good luck to them. It remains to be seen what Heineken. Niederberg famously previously owned by Distil. Heineken acquired Distil's portfolio, and how committed are Heineken to their wine portfolio? We shall see. It's all playing itself out. It would be great if Niederberg succeeded, and projects like Blank Canvas are surely part of making sure it does succeed.
Cool. And then the Steenberg Canvas collection, similar sort of pricing, actually.
Interesting. I mean, Steenberg is owned by Graham Beck Wines, and I think, frankly, Steenberg has been meandering a bit. I mean, it used to be sort of in the early 2000s, it was the pace setter when it came to Sauvignon Blanc. And then in recent times, I've been underwhelmed by their wines. But I was pleasantly surprised by this set of wines. I mean, a wooded Sauvignon, which is really tidy, a straight Sem, that not bad at all for a maritime climate, in a maritime climate style, and then a Nebbiolo, and I'm not sure it bears any real resemblance to Barolo, but good luck to them for trying.
You've got the next generation awards coming up. What is that?
So it's year 3 of the Next Generation Awards, which hopefully is self-explanatory. You have to be 35 or under to enter.
Is it limited to producers, or can
it's winemakers only?
Winemakers.
Yeah. It's honor-based. We ask that that entrants have been involved throughout the process, so from picking to bottling. We are not going to audit that, but what we are trying to do is allow for winemakers who are employed by a bigger organization to enter, so you don't have to be independent as such. So far, it's been a roaring success. In year one, Natasha Jacka of Elgin I was our best winemaker overall, and last year it was Barbara Milk of Reinicke, and two young women who look set for really great things.
Cool.
And we'll see who it is in 2026.
Great. Okay. What are you buying at the moment, Christian? What are you spending your hard-earned cash on?
Constrained by my journalist salary, I'm hitting bargains that the reports have revealed quite hard. Most recently, bought some Johannesburg Clipper Syrah.
Oh, there you go.
Full disclosure, my wife works for Ex-Animo and I get a staff discount.
Yes, that helps.
So it was impossible to resist.
Yeah. Did I see the Storm wines get released, or?
Yes,
have you tasted those yet?
Hannes Storm has promised me that we will get together, but to taste. But I have yet to see the new releases.
Okay. Cool. And then coming up in May, what's happening?
Coming up in May, it's not a wine mag project, or wine mag's not affiliated, but a trophy wine show judging looms, and I am a long-standing judge on that, and that's always a fascinating week. It's a proper deep dive into wine. Judge all day and drink and debate all night. So that's
just an immersion.
A total immersion, and typically, what's great. One of the things that's great about it is the international judges, who are usually very high caliber and great value to spend time with.
From our side, we've got the new Hogan releases coming out, the new Signs of Sinai releases coming out in the later weeks in May, and then early June we'll look at the Thorn and Daughters new releases. So 3 heavy hitters coming through. I'm going to go up to Josie next week. Yeah, next week to do a Beaujolais dinner, which is always fun, at the new Annex, chefed by Freddie Diaz, ex-Potluck Club in Cape Town, making some banging food. So yeah, watch this space. There's always more wine events coming up. Go to exanimo.coza to keep up to speed with wine events, and subscribe to winemag.coza so you can understand what's happening at the very, very pointy end of South African wine. Christian, thank you as always. We'll speak to you next month.
Cheers, David. Thank you.